Hey everyone, it's Tony and welcome to the S.O.V Horror Podcast. This week we have a really awesome guest, my good friend and awesome filmmaker, Madeline Deering. Hey Maddie, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, thank you. I'm really stoked to be talking to you. We'll get into it more, but Maddie directed a movie called The Spirit Animal, which I recommend you all check out. I think it's the best movie of 2020, and I'm not just blowing smoke out of my ass. It's a great film. I highly recommend it. But we're going to get more into that later. As you guys know, I always like to throw out my plug in the beginning so you can't skip over it, or you can skip over it, whatever. Anyways, first up, we did a surprise release this last month of our second release, actually, on our new label we have called Basement Videos, which is kind of more underground limited releases. So these will only be available for a limited time. And this particular one is Deck the Halls and Humble Foreskin. So this is a holiday double feature. There's Humble Foreskin there. And these were directed by Josh Schweier. And if you're not familiar with Josh Schweier, if you've seen a lot of Chris Seaver movies, you'd probably recognize him from those. He also directed Happy Holidays and My Great Aunt Bedelia. So if you're into those movies, these are exactly very similar. Actually, Deck the Halls is kind of almost a prequel to Happy Holidays. So if you're a fan of Happy Holidays, I definitely check this one out. $6, guys. I mean, I make no money off of this. So go ahead and grab this. This is kind of our Christmas present to our fans this year. So definitely check out Deck the Halls, Humble Foreskin. And we also put out two more movies this month. We have Henrik Kudo's Teen Slasher Fest, Slumber Party Murder Mania, and this is our first co-release with Bloodscream Comics. You may be familiar with them. They put out the cool Bonehill Road comic, as well as a lot of other cool comics like Undertaker and His Pals, Giant Gila Monster. They're on Facebook under Sparkle Comics, so definitely check them out. And this is our first co-release with them. We have a few more coming up. So this one's really cool. I highly recommend it. And then we also have Natasha and Nighty's Boudoir of Blood. This is our second in-house production. It's the sequel to Zombrello's House of Horrors. And our guest today actually contributed to this movie as well, and we'll definitely talk about that. But this is a lot of fun. If you like things like USA Up All Night and stuff like that, this is kind of our homage to that in an S.O.V style. So definitely check out Natasha and Nighty. And if that's not enough plugging, gosh, you guys are like, come on, Tony, you're killing me. We did just announce our December titles, so I did want to kind of point those out just really quick. So we have Matthew Brassfield's The Sadness coming out, and this is another one of our Warlock collection titles. This was originally put out by Chris Seaver's Warlock Home Video, and we feel very fortunate to have this one. And Matthew Brassfield actually is the man behind Bloodscream Comics. So this is another release in conjunction with Bloodscream Comics, and it's another fun teenage slasher movie. It's really cool. I really enjoyed it. I think you guys will like it too. So that's coming out in December 13th. And the other one, this one is a big one for me. I've been working on this release for months and months and months. And this is the first volume, and this is the S.O.V Drive-In double feature. These are two S.O.V movies from director Joe Sherlock. You may know him from one of my personal favorites, Blood-Sucking Redneck Vampires, as well as gosh, he's done so many movies, Drifter, Odd Noggins, and a lot of other titles I'm not going to mention because we're putting them out. But this is the first volume, and this is Crimson Heather and Lust of the Vampire Hookers. And Lust of the Vampire Hookers, that one's like very rare. I was actually bugging Joe for years. Joe, I want to see Lust of the Vampire Hookers. And not only did he let me see it, he let me pick it up for distribution. So we're really excited about this release. And it is pretty much like going to the drive-in. So it's two movies mixed with intermission ads and, you know, the countdowns, the refreshment stand stuff, you know, all that great stuff. I know they would probably never show shot on video movies at the drive-in. Actually, I guess they're doing it now. To me, Joe Sherlock's work just goes perfect with this style of aesthetic, and I love drive-in stuff, so I'm really excited about this. And this thing is absolutely loaded with bonus features. You can see the block there. I mean, this is probably one of our most packed DVDs yet. So this one's coming out in December, and it's the first of many volumes. We have a few more that are going to be coming out as well, so keep an eye out for that. Woo, that was a mouthful. Okay, have my drink and get started. Gosh, okay, well, Like I said, we have a really awesome guest today. Not only is Madeline Deering a great director and writer, director, producer, but also one of my co-hosts on the SOBs Who Love SOV podcast. And I'm very fortunate and happy to have Madeline Deering here. Hi, Maddie. Thanks for showing up.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I miss doing our podcast, so.
I know it's been like way too long.
Yeah, the last one was the Todd Sheets movie, Goblin, I think.
Yeah, at least we ended on a good one, right? And not body.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been sad if it was body count, right?
Body count was awful.
And I know we're kind of talking. Hopefully, the podcast. Hopefully, we'll be doing some more soon here. And you know, I love chatting with you guys about shot on video movies. Obviously.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
And I love your shirt, by the way. For people who are just
Thank
listening,
you.
Maddie's got an awesome Cannibal Campout shirt on, and so
One of my
kind
favorites.
I guess is going to take me to my first question, which is like, really, what kind of got you into shot on video horror films?
You know, I kind of asked myself the same question because when I watched Killer Nerd way back, that was like the first Troma movie I ever saw, first shot on video. No, Frostbiter was the first Troma movie I ever saw.
Chile.
I love Frostbiter. It's so
Okay.
good and so
So
underrated. So I watched Killer Nerd at a 7th grade birthday party, and I loved it. And I'm trying to think what made me pick up all of these shot on video releases from Camp Motion Pictures, but I don't know. It feels like I've had them forever, so I don't really know. And I don't think at the time I was old enough to really, to realize that they were shot on VHS,
Right.
shot on video. But the love has always been there, so I really don't know. I'm just gonna say Killer Nerd, but again, I picked up, Cannibal Campout and Wood Chipper Massacre, Zombie Bloodbath trilogy, all that stuff. I loved all that, so
Right. All those.
I guess I just like the look.
Right. Well, those were really cool releases when they put out those retro camp releases.
Oh my god, yeah.
Some of them are out of print.
I
now.
bought all of those. I mean, I must have bought one and just saw like the trailers for the others and just bought them. Video Violence. Video Violence is second favorite behind Killer Nerd.
Right.
So yeah, and then like I guess years later I realized they were shot on video and just kind of bought more because I already loved those movies and wanted to shoot my own SOV.
Right. So you attended film school, correct?
Yes, I did.
And what was kind of, did you always know that you wanted to get into the film industry? What kind of, pushed you into wanting to seek out working in that field?
Ooh. Yeah, again, when I was younger, I think I got really into Nightmare on Elm Street. That was my favorite. That was what got me into the horror genre. My parents got me Nightmare on Elm Street for Easter one year. They were all, my parents are still awesome.
Nice.
Because I saw it on cable, so I was really into horror movies. Like they had Wacky Wednesdays at Video World, the video store in my hometown, and I would always rent out the horror section. So I really got into that, and I think again when I first watched Killer Nerd, I was like, well, I could do this. Right. So I think I wanted to be a filmmaker really ever since that and Toxic Avenger is my favorite movie. And I was like, if you have enough passion behind a movie, you can make it happen and you can do it. So yeah, ever since I watched some of those movies, Troma was a huge inspiration. I wanted to make my own movies.
Nice. It's very cool. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of similar thing, shot on video movies kind of, I think for a lot of people, they kind of show you like, hey, with a little bit of money, a lot of heart, and some friends and some hero syrup, you too can make your own movie. You just got to put in the time and the effort to do so.
Yeah, and I remember my parents got me a camera. It was like a VHS-C type camera.
Okay.
And I didn't really make movies with it other than with like toys because I was little.
Right.
But it was still fun. Like I loved the stories and I wanted to tell them, and that was how I could tell them at the time because I didn't have actors.
Right. So do you also like to like write? Is that kind of one of the other aspects you're
Writing is honestly my favorite part of filmmaking.
interested?
Or yeah, I like telling stories. I like to write. I wish I had a little more time to write because sometimes when I get started, I'm like, oh, I'll come back to this later, and I don't. But yeah, I like telling stories.
Nice. Now, do you
And that,
find like as a writer director, as a filmmaker myself, I've noticed, I don't always write my stuff, but a lot of times I come up with the concepts, and it's so difficult to get what you have on page and in your brain sometimes on the screen. Do
oh
you
yeah,
find that to be a struggle as a filmmaker as well?
oh yeah, it can be. I mean, well, I did a couple of short films back in film school, and I've been lucky with the actors I've gotten, even with like Spirit Animal. Like I had actors who could really bring me what I wanted to the screen, but it can still be difficult, especially I could have something in my mind on the page, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do this, and I'll settle for whatever. But overall, I think I've been lucky so far with getting what's in my mind on the screen.
Nice.
But it can be difficult, especially with a tight budget and whatever that we're working with.
And you mentioned the cast of the movie. I mean, the cast does such an amazing job in this movie. I absolutely love the cast. So, did you actually like how did you cast Spirit Animal?
Well, I definitely typecast some of them, like Keith Monahan, who plays Timmy. I worked with him, and he is who he is, and
So
his character
he's
is
that stoner
exactly who he
character kind of
is.
from the film, pretty much.
Yeah. And Jennifer Louise, who plays the lead, she's amazing. She's been a friend of mine for like 10 years. So I wrote the role for her, and she was absolutely perfect in that role. And those are the only two I think I wrote the roles for. The rest were friends who I casted. So, well, I did write the dog role. Well, not the dog role, but the role opposite side of me in that dog scene. I wrote that for my friend because she works at a store taking care of dogs and stuff. So I was like, well, I'm gonna write you in this dog scene.
Nice.
um, yeah. So I wrote the roles for some of the characters and not some of the other ones, but they're all friends pretty much. The only one I casted who wasn't a close friend was Andy Stutchell, who played Adam, the abusive ex.
Right.
And Jen found him in a casting website, and I think he did a great job.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. He was good in it. He was good.
Yeah.
And so, really, what kind of was the genesis for Spirit Animal? What kind of really was the kind of inspired you to want to make this film?
Well, going way back, I was it's not even that far back. I wrote a script for a movie called Bathtub Shark Attack, which is one of the trailers that plays before the movie, which I still want to make, but I wrote a short film. I was promoting it. My actors dropped out. It didn't happen. And I was like, well, fuck it. If I'm not going to, I can say fuck, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. If I'm not going to make a short film, I'm just going to make a feature, which isn't the smartest thing to do, but it worked out. So I took some of my ideas from that and some of my ideas from some past ideas I had, and I put it together. I always wanted to make a slasher. I wanted to shoot a movie on VHS because I love the VHS look. I really obviously do. And I was like, well, what's the killer gonna wear? Like, what's his mask? Whatever. And I was like, well, let's change his mask. So I came up with that idea of, it was like literally a combination of all these different ideas I've had over the years.
Nice.
And I just kind of crammed them all together in this movie, which is, but I can still make some of those other ideas I've had into other movies. But
Oh, for sure. Then
yeah.
it kind of references back, that's kind of your own universe that I'm sure fans of your
Oh yeah,
would
and
love
I
to
love
see.
like shared universes in movies. Not that it has to be like in your face, but like a little references, and I think that really works out. And I could definitely, excuse me, do that for future films.
Right. So you shot this movie on VHS.
Yes.
I presume there was definitely challenges involved in shooting a modern movie on VHS. So what kind of problems did you have to face because you chose to shoot your movie actually on VHS?
The main problem was that this camera was from like 1992 or whatever. When you press the date time, it said 1992. It didn't have a fold out thing, so you had to look through the viewfinder and it was in black and white. So that could be difficult. Um, I couldn't see what my DP, Joseph Ruscio, who was amazing, by the way, he did amazing with the camera. I couldn't see what he was shooting at any time. And the software I had to upload it to editing was kind of goofy, but that wasn't a big deal. But yeah, the camera, I mean, all the audio, and I mean, you've watched the movie, except for the obvious ADR we did, which is probably my only regret. That was all onboard audio.
Right.
Camera picked up great audio. I was very happy with it.
Nice.
So that was something. And I also read that Cannibal Campout, they did pretty much all onboard audio for that too. So it wasn't the same camera, but still. It picked up great audio. We got lucky there, but the camera, sometimes it was hard to tell if we were getting good footage or not since it was in black and white and you had to look through the little viewfinder, but
Right.
no, we did okay. But that was a challenge. It was tough, especially when we did some effect shots and there was only one person there or two people who had to do it, and you had to make sure the camera was right and in focus. Sometimes it was hard to tell if it was in focus.
Right.
But so those were the challenges, but it also, again, it's shot on video, it's shot on VHS. So if something was slightly out of focus in one shot, who really cares?
Sure.
You just say, oh, it's the VHS.
Right. And you mentioned, the using just the onboard microphone.
Yeah.
And most people will tell you like that's just like a faux pas. Like you don't do that. And I'll just go out and say I've done that on all of my stuff. I think I've
You can't tell.
a couple shoots. I mean, well, that's because as a director, I've learned to tell my actors to speak really loud.
Yeah.
Louder, louder. I can always turn you down. I can't turn but
Exactly.
and so the process though to get to editing, so did you have to transfer the footage to a digital medium? Was that difficult to do that for you?
It wasn't that difficult. I bought this program off of Amazon, and it was like a USB, and it came with like a red, white, yellow cords
Right there
that you hook your VCR up to, and then you're just able to upload it that way.
Nice.
The program is kind of screwy at times. I had trouble getting it to work. But overall, I mean, once I really figured out what I was doing, it was pretty easy to upload footage, and the footage looked good. One main issue I had, though, was my VCR is very old. And I kind of realized that, like, sometimes, like, the colors were a little bit off, which kind of added the VHS feel. But the footage looks better when you upload it straight from my camera.
Right.
Than from my old VCR. But, it doesn't hurt anything, so it's okay.
Well, in the VHS aesthetic, I mean, just lends such a great quality. And obviously, we're shot on video fans, and I'm not just saying that as a shot on video fan. I'm saying like just as the way the movie is scripted, the way it's acted, the way it's played out, the shot on video. I mean, I couldn't see this movie being shot in crystal clear HD. I just don't think it would work as
me
well.
neither.
And
it was always meant to be shot on video when I wrote it.
Right. Now, have you considered, I presume you probably have more projects eventually in the works here. Do you plan to continue working strictly on video, or do you want to move on to things like 4K and HD and stuff like that?
So, well, I'm working on a script for Bathtub Shark Attack. I want to shoot that on video, but some of my other projects, like I wrote a script for my dream project, which is titled Alan. I want to shoot that in HD or 4K, whatever.
Right.
So I don't want to shoot everything on video, but certain projects, fun projects like this, whatever, I definitely would love to still shoot on video. It
Nice.
depends on the project.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm finally thinking of maybe moving to HD. I've been using
Ooh.
the same mini DV cameras for the last, I don't know, 20 years.
20 years.
Probably.
I don't know. It's something about it that has a great look, but at
Right.
certain projects, sometimes you might want better quality. I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing is
It
a lot of filmmakers and I've even heard critiques from people like why do you shoot on that format? Distributors don't want that. Distributors don't want SD content.
Mhm.
They don't want, and I know you've self-distributed Spirit Animal, and have you spoke to any distributors? Have you had that conversation where they're like, oh crap, it's an SD and not HD?
You know what? All the distributors who've contacted me loved SOV stuff, and there's probably about 3 or 4 of them. And I haven't decided anything yet, but I'll probably go with someone eventually.
Right.
Everyone was excited that it was shot on video. Everyone's a shot on video fan. No one cares.
That's great.
So, yeah, no one. There's a lot of fans of SOV, and honestly, I didn't think I was the only SOV fan. When I started shooting, I was like, oh, maybe this is dumb, whatever. I know my crew probably thought I was dumb for shooting on SOV. And then I met you guys on SOVs who love SOV podcast, and this whole world opened up to me. And I was like, well, I'm not the only fan.
Yeah, there's definitely a fan base out there. It's not big, but it definitely exists,
Bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
And that's coming from someone who was, again, shooting on video before I knew any of this. So,
Right.
Super cool.
Nice. And I do want to show, I want people to actually see your product here. And I have like 3 copies of your movie here. This is how much I love this movie.
Copies?
I have a screener copy
Oh, yes.
with magnets and stickers. And this was the first version, I believe. And then I have the DVD. So there's a DVD version if you guys want DVD. And then, of course, VHS as well. So are the VHSs and DVDs still available for people to pick up?
Yeah, DVDs are. I need to make new VHS like ASAP because I have some people who order them, but it's very time consuming because I have to play the movie and record it. But the VHS look fantastic, and they're on red VHS tapes,
right?
As you know. So VHS is my preferred format to watch the movie because it's the way it's meant to be watched. But
so
yeah, I have both still available.
When you released them, did the VHS actually sell faster than the DVD?
No, DVD sold faster, but VHS still sold pretty well.
It is pretty crazy how VHS is still a very viable format for a lot of people.
Oh, I know. I'm kind of surprised too. There's a lot of movies I want to own on VHS, and they're mostly available, even if just limited.
Right.
There's a lot of people who still collect.
Yep.
I mean, I see behind you.
I know some of us though, like, I was into VHS collecting for quite a while, and I mainly got into it, honestly, just when I first got into movies. That was what was released. It was before DVDs, and we just collected VHS. And when the video stores started going out of business, it was like, woohoo, 50-cent VHS,
Yeah.
And now some of these tapes are worth hundreds of dollars. It's ridiculous. I mean,
oh, I know.
I saw the other day, like, Chopping Mall all of a sudden is a tape that's worth $100, and I was like, this tape was in every freaking video store. And not to put it down, I love Chopping Mall; it's an amazing movie, but like, it's just like, wow, it's just so crazy.
It really is. Like, I don't know. Like, I was very into collecting VHS and everything, but I moved on to DVD. I sold some of my VHS because
Sure.
And then I was like, oh, well, I kind of miss this VHS quality. The cover, the commercials, especially commercials, trailers, and stuff. So, yeah, I started wanting some of those VHS back, which is kind of stupid, but whatever.
That's a nostalgia thing. I think for a lot of us, it's
It is,
really
yeah.
nostalgia. And like you said, it's like seeing the FBI warning in the beginning, and then all the
Yep.
trailers, and and sometimes some of the most ridiculous things they throw on some of these tapes.
Yeah, like I always loved like Home Alone. They had like the Pepsi thing at the beginning, or
Right?
that was Home Alone 1. There was Home Alone 2 as well, and I think they had like a Burger King, or maybe that was a different VHS. And actually, that's where Dingo Pizza kind of came from, putting that commercial together. It's like, well, they're a sponsor of this movie. Let's put a commercial at the beginning and like make it obvious that they sponsored this movie. Just like Home Alone, like, oh, Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi. Like, no shit, Pepsi sponsored this fucking movie.
So was speaking of Dingo Pizza, was that kind of done after the principal photography, kind of added afterwards, or was that something that was kind of scripted and you knew you wanted to do in the film?
So, oh yeah, this is kind of a longer story. Obviously, it's fine.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Well, yeah. First off, so I wrote my script, Alan. That's like the dream movie I have, and I did a short film. And the main character works at a shop called Dingo Pizza, so that's always been in my mind. I don't know where Dingo Pizza came from. Seinfeld, the dingo ate your baby. Clearly, the dingo ate your pizza. So years later, I wrote Spirit Animal, and I wrote a little reference to Dingo Pizza because I was like, well, I want to do Alan as well, and I want them to be in the same universe. And actually, that whole, I mean, I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but there's a Dingo Pizza death scene. I won't give anything more than that away. That was never in the original script. My, co-writer, cinematographer Joe came up with that. I had a different death in mind that I wasn't really a fan of, but so we shot that, and then we were talking about doing a Dingo Pizza commercial for fun. So I put that together. I think it was on like Labor Day or something that I wanted to have it released. So I just put that together in one day.
Right.
So that was never originally supposed to be part of the movie, but I put the commercial together to promote the movie, and I thought it turned out really well.
Oh, it's great.
So it all just, I feel like it was kind of like a happy accident.
Right. And that's a lot of filmmaking, honestly, is happy accidents. I mean, I'm sure you can do that.
And people are so into Dingo Pizza. It amazes me. Like, it's just something I randomly came up with, but people love it. And it makes me so happy because, yeah, Dingo Pizza.
So Dingo Pizza, you were kind enough to contribute that to the Natasha Nighty movie that we produced.
I was, and I was so excited about it.
And I don't know if you've seen recently, Jonathan Knight from B Movie Madness just reviewed Natasha Nighty.
I haven't watched that yet, no.
And he mentioned that he tried to call the Dingo Pizza number. Or I guess
he actually texted me about that. So Jen, the lead actress, and I, well, we were like, having a couple beers one night, and we decided it would be a good idea to call, but I think it was a false phone number. But before that, I think someone said, oh, you better call it. Like, what if that's a real number? Because I just made it up off the top of my head.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm glad it was a fake number, because if it was real, then we get a bunch of calls about Dingo Pizza. But he texted me about that, and I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, he said he didn't have the balls to call, but he texted it.
And they didn't text back. It would have been funny if they texted back.
Well, I wonder how many, if there is someone behind that number, I wonder how many calls they're going to get for that Dingo Pizza, because that pizza did look good. I mean, I watched
it was
that.
A frozen pizza, though.
Well,
it wasn't that good.
I mean,
thank you so much. Maybe I should open my own pizza shop by calling.
You can do that to fund the next movie, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And speaking of Natasha Nighty, so you also contributed the Inner Drink commercials,
yes,
which were a lot of fun. Can you kind of tell us, how did those come about?
Ooh, man. I was in film school. So that was for a directing project. I had a directing class. We had like 4 or 5 hours to put together like our own project to direct. I mean, we had more than that time to write it and everything. So I had this one classmate named Aaron. I was in his film Captain Happy Son, which is available on Amazon Prime, by the
Oh, nice.
way. So, and he was like bodybuilder type of person, just lots of energy. And I don't know, one of my classmates was also like always drinking these Viper energy drinks. And I remember the sign on at the food land saying limit 3 per day or something. And I was like, oh man, you're gonna fucking kill yourself. So I think that's kind of where energy drink came from. I was like, oh well, let me do an energy drink commercial, because infomercials are always fun to make fun of.
Right.
So I think that's where it came from. I just kind of wrote it, and we had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, it's so hilarious. It's so funny. I absolutely love it.
I'm really glad to hear that. I mean, I remember me and this other classmate, we were like kind of battling for like the funniest directing projects, and I remember mine got more laughs. No
Nice.
offense to his was really funny too, but it's just so high paced and funny. I mean, the whole short film's on the VHS, which I'm sure you've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So, which could be cut down a little bit, but it's so much fun.
Right. Yeah. We ended up doing kind of 2 ads out of it in the film.
Yeah.
Watching Nighty, and I think it worked out great. It's so funny, and it adds such a great element because we have all these 1-900 sex ads and like psychic ads and movies. It's like, where's the food? So we got the Dingo Pizza, we got the energy drink, we got a Papa Joe's hot sauce. You know, so that was really.
I love the
cool.
Papa Joe's hot
Oh,
sauce.
it's so funny. That one was a blast because I mean, it was a little unfortunate. That was directed by Joseph Vogeli from Stugli Films. Awesome director. He did a movie called Specimen 6, which I highly recommend. It's a really cool kind of slasher flick, very creative and different.
Is that an anthology?
You know, it's not really
Ish.
an anthology. It's kind of, yeah, it's definitely a different take on the slasher movie, for sure.
I had Spirit Animal play during this 31 Days of Horror anthology. It's not an anthology. Film festival. And I think Specimen 6 was one of the movies, but I was visiting my parents. I didn't really get a chance to watch it, but I think that's the movie.
Oh yeah,
So,
it's a cool flick, and Joseph Vogeli is awesome and a really nice guy, really cool guy.
yeah.
He runs a podcast too. I've been on it a few times, and unfortunately though they couldn't. You know, he had a medical emergency and he wasn't able to edit it, and so you know they were kind of last minute. Well, here's the footage, Tony, and I had such a blast editing that. It was
I bet.
so much fun. I mean, there was so much good stuff, and I was like, I have to make 2 ads out of this. I can't just do 1.
Oh yeah.
I gotta do 2. It's just it's so funny, you know. They did such.
Well, at least you got to put it in the movie and everything. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So you've mentioned a few times, and I'm starting to get a little tipsy, so I'm gonna say the title wrong probably. But Alan, Alan is the name of this project that you're.
Well, I don't know how many different ways you can say Alan.
Well, for a minute I thought it was Adam. So.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I guess that's one way to put it.
Didn't want to screw up the title there, but you've mentioned it a few times. Is there anything you can tell us about that project? I'm definitely kind of intrigued in it.
I don't want to say too much. I mean, like I said, like it's based on a short film. I have some actors attached. Actually, it's my dream project. It's like a really twisted type love story, very inspired by, I would say, one of the big inspirations is, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho and Taxi Driver. I would put those 2 in there. It's definitely a lot different than Spirit Animal. It's more like psychological, and it's also like a dark comedy,
Right.
Twisted romance. I mean, I can't say too much about it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've talked to a few like actors, actresses, and stuff, so I'm trying to get the ball rolling on that.
Nice. And so that definitely sounds like it's kind of a different tone obviously
Yes,
from Spirit
very much
Animal.
so.
Is there also, like, do you have interest in making other types of films as well? Like, obviously, you've kind of done a horror comedy. It sounds like you want to do something a little more psychological. Would you ever want to reach out to just do something straight up comedy or something straight up action or drama? Like, do you have an interest in working in kind of other genres as well?
I like sexual. Yeah, David Lynch is my favorite director.
Gotcha.
Yes, I am tipsy too. And actually, we're working on a short film. Jennifer Louise is going to be the lead in it, and that's like a psychological type thriller, like Twilight Zone esque. It's only like a 10-page script, so I do want to try something more serious. And Bathtub Shark Attack is going to be more comical, but I also want it to be like not so much slapstick, but kind of like take itself seriously. We're still being funny. I don't think I would do a straight up comedy. I'd probably do more drama horror.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of ideas floating around in my brain, so.
Well, that's the thing is, some people, some filmmakers, obviously you see it a lot. They start in the horror genre and they kind of make a few horror films and then they jump to other genres, and they're not always like, their heart's not always completely in, hey, I just want to make horror. Where some filmmakers are like, no, that's my thing. I just make horror. I just make
horror. Yeah. I'm only gonna make horror, maybe psychological thriller-esque. I had one script that I was working on for like kind of a comedy drama, but that would probably be the only thing I'd ever do outside my genre. And honestly, if I ever wrote the script, finished the script, I'd probably want someone else to direct it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
horror's my thing for sure.
I've had a few like crazy ideas, of like dystopian action type movies that I've wanted to make, but it's like, obviously working on the budgets we have to work on, making these types of movies, there's no money obviously involved. It's like, there's no way I could ever make that film.
Oh yeah, action films especially, like horror is easy to make on a budget. Action, it depends on the action movie. Like, have you heard of the movie Forced to Fear?
I've not, no.
Oh my god. So have you heard of The Barn? Have you seen it?
I've heard of The Barn. I've never seen it, no.
Well, first off, watch The Barn. Secondly, the cinematographer of The Barn, Zane Hirschberger, I hope I'm saying his name right. He and, I think Chad Burns is his name, made a movie called Forced to Fear. Oh, next to The Final Caller, favorite movie of 2020. So fucking good. Best action movie. And I don't really get into action movies, but that movie, so much fucking fun.
Right.
Highly recommended. But I think my whole point was they made this action movie out of like not much money at all. And Zane did all the fight choreography and everything. It was incredible. And Matt Cannon, who did the score for Spirit Animal, amazing score.
Great score.
He did the music for Forced to Fear, which was incredible. He won Best Score at Genre Fest or Genre Blast, whatever the fuck that is. Sorry, I'm saying fuck so much.
Oh, quite right. Fuck. Right. I presume if people are in
I highly recommend it because I don't watch a lot of action movies, and I wasn't even expecting to like Forced to Fear as much as I did, but it was so much fun.
Nice.
So action can be done on a budget for sure if you know what you're doing, which I don't.
I mean, look at movies. I don't know if you've seen Lost Faith. Joel Wynkoop's Lost Faith.
Oh, I love Lost Faith.
Good.
Lost Faith is awesome. I only watched that a few months ago. Joel Wynkoop is one of my heroes. I'd love to work with the guy one day.
So good. You got to work with Joel. You got to. I'm
He's
hoping
awesome.
to do something more directly with him. He's been in a few of our things, but more stock footage and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, gosh, I almost forgot. I know you just started a new podcast.
I did.
Can you tell us about your new shark movie podcast?
Yeah, it's called The Shitty Shark Show. So we review shitty shark movies. Our first episode was on Post-Apocalyptic Shark Commando, or Post-Apocalyptic Commando Shark. Have you seen that one?
No,
I recommend it. It's awesome. And yeah, it's been going good. I think we're gonna episode 5 or 6 is gonna drop this Thursday. It drops every other Thursday. You can like our Facebook page, Shitty Shark Show, without the I, because Facebook doesn't let me do shitty. It's a bad word. But, you know, Keith Monahan, who plays Timmy in Spirit Animal, he's one of the people on the podcast. Donovan
Nice.
Smith, or Monster. He's another person, and John Schatzer. So we all get together and talk shitty shark movies every week. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. And I know you're like a huge fan of shark movies, obviously.
I am.
You know, what really got you into these kind of bad shark movies?
I have 2 answers. Well, mainly one. When I was younger, I did like Jaws and everything. I would always tell my uncle, "Oh, Jaws is coming for you, bum 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 bum," you know, whatever. I enjoyed them, but when Sharknado came out, it opened that whole world of shitty shark movies for me, and I really got back into them. Even though I liked them when I was younger, like, that really got me more into them.
Right.
So I've had a Sharknado-themed birthday party every year since the first Sharknado came out, except for this one.
Nice.
So, and after Sharknado came out, there's so many that were coming out, like, you know, Sharktopus, 5-headed Shark Attack, all that stuff, 6-headed Shark Attack, whatever. And they were just so much fun. So, I enjoy them.
Right. I
love creature features, so.
I worked on a shitty shark movie. Actually, I don't know if it's shitty. I'll be honest. I've never watched it. I'm probably
Jurassic Shark.
but I worked on Jurassic Shark, Brett Kelly's Jurassic Shark.
That's one I haven't seen, and I need to watch it still.
Well, I know I definitely did some fun effects in it, so it definitely makes me think that it's definitely might fit in that category. But my first shitty shark movie I remember seeing is Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. I remember a friend showed that to me. He's like, "You have to see this movie." He's like, "It's the worst movie ever made, Tony. You're going to love this." And I just remember being just at awe at Shark Attack 3 Megalodon.
It's so good. There's that whole line where, oh God, what is it? Something about, he says, "Oh, how about we go back to the hotel and I eat your pussy," or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's the line. I love Shark Attack 3. It's so good. It's so good.
Now, do you know
what's funny is the first Shark Attack is actually pretty fun.
Right.
So what's the second one? The second one's even decent. And then to get to the third one, you're like, what the fuck?
Now, do you know, did those predate Sharknado, those films? I feel like they maybe did, but I'm not positive on it.
They definitely did, yeah. I think I remember seeing Shark Attack at the video store when I was younger. So they, I think, came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. Casper Van Dien was in the first Shark Attack.
Oh.
And I think he's awesome. He's a very underrated actor, in my opinion.
He reminds me of a not as big chin Robert Zedar. So, you know, there's that really strong jawbone, you know.
Yeah.
And I work for Riff Track, so, you know, like, Casper Van Dien is a constant joke over
Oh, I would imagine he would be.
Cool. So, any other kind of projects or anything kind of coming up that you maybe want to plug or talk about?
Yeah, so, like I said, we're working on a short film that's a little bit more serious, Twilight Zone-esque, and the title's Stuffing. So Jennifer Louise is going to be the lead in that one. So that's something I'm hoping to shoot early next year. And then I've got Bathtub Shark Attack. I'm working on a script for it. Actually, I just got the shark for the movie, or am getting the shark for the movie, which is super cool, but I can't say too much more right now.
Are you having that made, or?
I had it made. Well, another filmmaker who was making a shark movie that didn't get made is selling it to me, which
nice.
Some people could probably guess the situation, but so I'm buying it off him and we're going to use it in the movie. So
awesome.
I'm kind of reworking the script for it and everything, because I was already kind of coming up with more ideas and stuff to make it a feature for my short film. So
Right.
I still want to make that happen. So those are the two main ones, and again, Alan.
But the big question
So
is
yeah,
Roxy Balboa going to be in any of these movies?
I hope so. Roxy's my favorite dog ever. I've never been a huge pet person because when I was growing up, I was allergic to dogs and cats, and I met Roxy and instantly fell in love. So I want her in all my movies as long as she's willing to be. Roxy's awesome.
Oh, she steals the show. She's
She does, yeah. So,
awesome.
so yeah, those are the main projects.
Nice. And I got to ask
Always,
you because I know you're a fan of our DVD label. So I
yeah.
always like to ask anyone who's kind of a fan of our label, what are your favorite SOVHorror.com releases? Like, what would you recommend to someone who was just kind of getting into our label?
My answer is always Spirit Gallery. I truly love Spirit Gallery. I think when I watched that, I was really blown away. Like, I mean, I'm glad it was shot on video. It could have been shot on anything. The story and everything. It's a very cool story, very original. I really enjoy it, and I also really enjoy Meadow Noir. Which, wait, are they making a sequel to that?
Yes. David R. Williams is working on the sequel.
That's
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the
so
Metal
am
Gear.
I.
He's actually making a movie right now called Rust Belt. I think it's Rust Belt Killer, which looks amazing. I'm so excited to
Look
see
that
what.
one up. I'm gonna have to, cause yeah, I don't know what other movies I've really seen. Excuse me, from him.
He's done a few. He's
So,
done
but
like Fright World and a couple other
oh,
movies. Stuff
Fright World.
about some of his stuff.
I didn't. I wasn't a big fan of Fright World. So,
You know,
were
the
you?
thing it was all right. You know,
I worked with Andrew Roth. He was the one of the main actors, I believe, in Fright World. He was in a
oh,
movie that I worked on. The first movie I worked in out of film school called Lucifer's Unholy Desire. So I remember watching Fright World for that reason and being like, oh.
right. I know there was some problems. I've kind of talked to him about it a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure. It's no offense to anyone. It just wasn't my favorite.
Hmm. I'm excited about Metal Noir, though. I think it's going to be kind of a reboot, and we're
Yeah, I'm
hoping.
excited.
You know, I don't know if I've mentioned this publicly yet, so people on the podcast, you're getting a scoop right now. If you're listening, you made it this far. We did recently find a new print of Metal Noir, so we're hoping to release a brand new spanking version of Metal Noir in the near future that hopefully looks a lot better than the previous version.
Can't wait.
So I'm very excited about that. You know, obviously that was our first DVD release. That one's so close to my heart. And I had to mention too, you know, you mentioned Spirit Gallery being your favorite, and we kind of talked off air before we started this. I have this bad habit of every time I try to say Spirit Animal, I always say Spirit Gallery, and so I'm just publicly apologizing for that now. But honestly, Spirit Gallery and Spirit Animal, I mean, they should be in the same camp. They're both SOV classics, in my opinion. I definitely recommend people are listening to this, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, Maddie. I absolutely love Spirit Animal. I truly think it's the best movie of 2020 that I saw. And if you're a shot on video fan, you need to check out this movie. You need to hit up Maddie on Facebook. I think you guys have you have a page for Spirit Animal, right?
Spirit Animal movie on Facebook, yeah.
And is that the best way for people to kind of contact you to get a copy?
Yeah, that or you can contact my Facebook page, Madeline Deering.
And
Maddie Deering.
we didn't even talk about, guys, Smell-O-Vision.
I know.
Smell-O-Vision. I mean, such a great concept. And
I really love gimmicks, and I wanted to make I almost said Spirit Gallery, Spirit Animal, have a gimmick. And actually, speaking gimmicks, I have Splash-O-Vision gimmick prepared for when I make Bathtub Shark Attack. So expect more gimmicks from me in the future because I love movies to be interactive.
you know, and that's a cool aspect of it. But you know, I do just want to preface it with Spirit Animal doesn't even need the smell-o-vision. The smell-o-vision is great. It looks cool, but like honestly, you know, some movies I feel needed the gimmicks. You know what I mean? Like, those gimmicks to kind of sell the tickets and to get people into the film, where this movie does not need it, but it definitely adds to it. It's a fun little. There's also a drinking game, which is also fun. I mean, God knows we like.
Did you do the drinking game by chance?
I did not do the drinking game. I imagine.
I feel like you'd die.
I don't know if I'd make it to the end of the movie.
Because I love sharks, and you take a drink every time you see a shark. So
they're everywhere. Awesome. Well, anything else you want to talk about before we kind of close this off here, Maddie?
Probably not. I mean, yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast and everything. And I guess I will just mention Toby Radloff, who was the star of Killer Nerd. My favorite SOV of all time is in Spirit Animal, if people didn't know that. And it was amazing working with him. And I'm still shocked I even got him in the movie. I mean, it was amazing.
So cool. I don't want to blow what his role is in the movie either, because it's so great. And for people who love Toby Radloff, you know, the Killer Nerd, and also from all the old MTV TV spots, you know, like if you like Toby Radloff, you're absolutely gonna love him in this movie. I love the way you used him in it.
Oh yeah.
How did you get Toby? Did you just kind of contact him on Facebook or social media and just
I just contacted him on Facebook. Joe and I were watching Killer Nerd. I was showing him it the first time because the head explosion in Killer Nerd is my favorite head explosion of all time. Sorry for Scanners. Sorry for the Prowler, Maniac, whatever. I'm not Maniac. But yes, and I was talking about they were supposed to be an original head explosion in Spirit Animal that didn't happen, but we had another one, and I showed my friend Joe, who was the cinematographer, special effects artist, like, this is what I want this to look like. And as we were watching, it was like, well, why don't we just get Toby to do the voice? So I contacted him, and he was super cool and sent me contract right away and the voice clips through Facebook, and we put it in the movie.
That's so cool. So, have you seen that documentary about him yet? Genuine Nerd?
I haven't. I've seen I've seen American Splendor and a lot of his other stuff. I haven't seen that. No.
Another one I love him in is Townies.
Townies is awesome. Yeah. And I only watched that like right before our premiere of the movie when he was coming, and I was like, well, I want to watch this so I can talk to him about it, which I didn't really. I only talked about Killer Nerd, but Townies is awesome.
So did you kind of fangirl out, you know, when you met Toby at the screening?
Oh my God, yeah, I didn't even know how to act. I was like, oh my God, what? So it was definitely a huge experience for me, and so cool. He's so awesome.
For sure, and it's such a character. I mean, and you know, I mean, we did the Killer Nerd first movie on the S.O.V's podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully someday we do the sequel, because I love the sequel too.
Oh, they're both awesome. I love them both.
Anyways,
when I was a kid and I wanted to make movies before I made movies, I wanted to make my own Son of Killer Nerd movie, and I think I started writing it, and my friends and I were just going to do it for fun, but we never did. So the fact that I got to work with Toby on the movie was amazing. Like,
get the Kickstarter going now. Son of Killer Nerd. I mean, why does this not exist? I mean, I absolutely love it. I never, I'll be honest, I am not one of those people who like to give money to Kickstarters, but I would give money to Son of Killer Nerd. I would have no choice.
Maybe I would talk to Toby and Wayne Allen Harold about it.
It's a great idea. And then House of Killer Nerd. I mean, you could do the whole like Universal monster type, you know, rundown with the Killer Nerd movies.
I would love that. I mean, who wouldn't?
Right? Abbott and Costello meet Killer Nerd, you know?
I'd watch it.
Oh, I would too.
I know you would.
Awesome. Well, hey, Maddie, it's been awesome having you on. I super appreciate it. Before we hop off, though, you want to just let people know how to find you? What's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of the movie?
Yeah, you can look me up on Facebook, Madeline Deering. Or you can go to our Facebook page, which is Spirit Animal Movie. I'm also on Instagram, but that's not a good way to contact me because I'm barely on there. But I don't even know my Instagram. So you can also email me, necrosharkfilms@gmail.com, NEKRO sharkfilms. Necro like necromantic, which is also one of my all-time favorite movies.
Nice.
Do you like necromantic?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Minus
That's
the bunny scene. The bunny scene.
yeah, fair enough, but that's top 5 for me,
Oh,
minus the money scenes though.
yeah, that was
So yeah, those are the best ways.
nice. Great. So yes, people, I'm serious. I'm serious. I mean, I own 3 copies of this movie, and I would probably buy a 4th if another one comes out. So please.
I am wanting to do a super cool big box edition, but we will see.
Oh, nice.
That's the first time I've said that, but it's a dream of mine to do it. So
That'd be awesome. I
next
would pick
year,
up the big box. So.
who wouldn't want a big box of like any VHS type movie? Like,
Well, my wife would
I
probably.
have the big box of Splatter Farm, and that thing is amazing.
Oh, what a great release! What a great release!
Oh my god, yes.
I was so happy just to finally get the original version of Splatter Farm on VHS.
I just watched it earlier today. It was awesome. I mean, just like the regular version is, but I had never seen the original version, so it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, that original version is just, I like the DVD version too, but the original version is just so much more visceral, and obviously it's there's definitely some moments in there that are not in the other version.
Tell me, okay, he's like taking a poop. That's not in the original version, is that?
I don't think so. No, well,
Thank God, because I was like, am I crazy or is this all new? Because I knew they added stuff, but I was like, there's no way I wouldn't remember this.
Well, what gets me with that movie is all the, like, in a sense, the underage nudity in the film. I mean, it's pretty graphic, some of those scenes, and it's just like, wow. You'll see a whole different side of the Polonia brothers if you're not familiar with that one.
Oh yeah, but it's one of my favorites. So.
Oh, it's classic. I mean, the Polonia brothers are so great. God bless. Rest in peace, John.
Yeah.
One back for John here.
Okay. Iron City beer for any Pittsburghers.
But hey, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Maddie. It's been awesome rapping with you. We need to bug Rebecca to get the SOBs going again.
She was talking about doing it, so hopefully we can, because I miss it.
Let's pick something. We got to torture her with something, so we got to pick something really, goofy.
Oh God, I'm sure you have more ideas than I do. I mean, maybe Boarding House 3-hour cut.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I want to watch the Boarding House 2.5-hour cut again. Oh, I've watched that a couple times, and I don't know why.
I've only watched it once, and that was the first time I watched it, and it ruined the movie for me.
I can imagine.
So stupid. But yeah, come up with something terrible.
It's such a random, that movie's so random.
It's so good. I mean, the regular cut's so good.
I laugh at the fact that John Wintergate has tried to say that he always meant it to be a comedy, and you're like, dude, you did not mean it to be a comedy. No.
He's like the Tommy Wiseau of SOVs. Yes. Like Tommy Wiseau said, oh yeah, The Room was always supposed to be comedy. No, it wasn't.
No, it was. Pretty much. Actually, I've never thought of that. That is like the perfect analogy for John Wintergate. He's the Tommy Wiseau of SOV. And his, cheetah speedo.
That's the truth.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Maddie. Thank you so much. And thanks for everyone for listening. And definitely join us next time. We have a really cool guest next time. And hopefully we'll be back in a couple weeks. Thanks and cheers. See you next time, guys. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.